All right, shalom, shalom. Before I get started, I want to start off by giving all honor and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Harakah Kwadash, Ulam Yum. Double honors to my apostles and elders at Great Millstone for teaching me this truth. Shalom to the elect, the ones out there who are doing this work diligently and chiefly keeping the faith, making your calling and your election sure. Without further ado, I'm going to get right into it. Now, Spirit jumped on me to do this particular video. The title of this one is called Our Temptations Are Tailor-Made. And, the scripture is out there to let you know that, everyone go through the same similar temptations. But the point of me bringing this video out is to, pinpoint on how the demons like to try you with things that, you may fall susceptible to. Right, the demons know how to trigger you, right? And it's really, the Lord who is trying you, all right, through the different temptations, But I'm gonna start with this precept here. This is Jeremiah chapter 17 and verse 9 in the NLT. If you want to read it in the KJV, you're welcome to do so. But this is Jeremiah chapter 17 verse 9. It says, "The human heart, meaning the mind, is the most deceitful of all things and desperately wicked. Who really knows how bad it is?" Right? You can't control the thoughts that come in your mind. Right? You can't say, all right, thought one, you go, thought two, you go. You can't put your thoughts in a line. No, they happen constantly. And a lot of it be demons coming to try you. Right? And when these demons try you, they come with something that may interest you, and that's when you got to lock in through the spirit even more. Consider when Yahweh Shai was fasting. All right, the first thing that Satan came to do, right? The first thing that Satan came with was an offer of food. When Yahweh Shai was fasting, and Satan tried to come and tempt him. The first thing he came with was food, man. So that shows you that account. It shows you a lot. But from honing into that particular point, it shows you that these demons are come to you with something you may need, right? And you have to have the spirit within you to reject it. Just like them coming with the MOTB, right? The mark of the beast. That's a temptation that the demon is going to come with, and they're going to try to, persuade you to take it, and you should not take it. Don't take that, man. All right? But Jeremiah chapter 17, verse 9, it says, "The human heart, meaning the mind, is the most deceitful of all things and desperately wicked. Who really knows how bad it is?" These bodies, the minds that we have is completely wicked. Like I said before, you can't control the thoughts, but you can fight against the wicked thoughts that come into your mind, right? And each one of these thoughts or each one of the temptations is tailored to you, right? Why? So you can overcome it. Right? The Lord didn't put us through temptations and trials for you to succumb to the trial. No, it's for you to overcome it, overtake it, right? This is Jeremiah 17 and 10. See, the Lord knows the mind. Jeremiah 17 and 10. "But I, the Lord, search all hearts and examine secret motives. I give all people their due rewards according to what their actions deserve." You see, that's what the Lord does. All right. He give you according to what your actions deserve. And really, we deserve death. So if you're still here kicking, breathing, then you got to give praises to the Lord, man, that you're still here, that you're still able to move around, because we're really worthy of death. All right, the scriptures let us know that the simple thought process of foolishness is sin. So it shows you how much we need the Lord, man, how much we need Yahweh Shai. All right. So the scriptures let us know. What's that in Sirach chapter 2, real quick? This is Sirach chapter 2 over here. It says, Sirach chapter 2 verse 1, my son, if thou come to serve the Lord, prepare thy soul for temptation. So when you come into this truth, you got to prepare for the temptation. You got to prepare for demons to come and try you with things that you like, with things that you once like, right? They know exactly how to trigger you, and you have to know how to counter them. It's with the truth, right? It's with the spirit. Just like Yahweh Shai, when Satan came to tempt him, and when Satan came to, try him, and he offered him food at first, Yahweh Shai rebuked Satan with nothing but the scriptures, right? So it shows you how much you need the word and how much you need to understand the truth that you're a part of, because these demons will attack you with the correct temptation to throw you off. This is Sirach chapter 2 and verse 2. It says, set thy heart aright and constantly endure and make not haste in the time of trouble. So when these demons come, you supposed to put your mind's supposed to be right. It's supposed to be fixated on this truth, right? Let's go into this definition of the word tailor-made real quick. Tailor-made. Let me move this. All right, tailor-made. This is according to Google, right? It says tailor-made refers to something such as clothing, products, or solutions, specially designed or adapted to fit a specific person, organization, or purpose. You see? So tailor-made goes into fitting you exactly, right? When you get a suit tailored, it's fitting you, right? It don't fit no one else. It fits you, right? And it's the same thing with these temptations, man, right? There's no coincidence in this truth. Whatever you're going through, it's there for you to overcome. It's there for you to beat, not fall susceptible to it. This is Sirach chapter 2 and verse 3. It says, cleave unto him and depart not away, that thou mayest be increased at thy last end. So when you go through these temptations and you endure the temptations and overcome them, you're going to be increased, right? The scriptures let us know, and I'm going to grab it real quick, what it says in Revelation chapter 3, right? Revelation chapter 3 lets you know it's a reward. I think that's 3 and 21. Real quick. Revelation chapter 3 and verse 21 in the NLT, it says, those who are victorious will sit with me on my throne, just as I was victorious and sat with my Father on his throne. Victorious in what? Overcoming the flesh, overcoming the temptation that comes upon you, real talk. And the demons will come to you in your voice, right? They'll come to you sounding like you, but they're not you for real. That's not you. You want to serve the Lord, right? So when that voice come into your head to tell you to do things that are off, that's when you have to identify that demons are trying you and you have to overcome them. So that way you can be victorious, right? And get crowned by the Lord, like it says in 2 Ezra chapter 2 and verse 42. All right. Now, let me go over to here real quick, because there's a punishment for not listening to the word or listening to the truth, right? There's a punishment for rejecting the Lord's correction and falling susceptible to that temptation over and over and over again. This is Proverbs chapter 1 verse 30 in the NLT. It says, they rejected my advice and paid no attention when I corrected them. You see, how do the Lord correct you? It's through the Spirit. All right, the Lord will correct you through the word. All right, if it doesn't measure up to the truth, it's going off. Then when you read the truth and you apply the truth in your life, right, you apply these words in your life, you know what's wrong and you know what's right. Okay, for example, Leviticus chapter 11 verse 7. If you really believe in the Lord and you trust in the Lord, Leviticus 11 and 7 says don't eat the swine, right? So you apply that to your life, all right, and you will change. You see, and that shows that you were corrected, and that temptation, which is the swine, no longer overtakes you. So it says, Proverbs 1 and 30, they rejected my advice and paid no attention when I corrected them. Verse 31, therefore they must eat the bitter fruit of living their own way. choking on their own schemes. I'm going to read that again. Proverbs 1 and 31. Therefore, they must eat the bitter fruit of living their own way, choking on their own schemes. So when these demons come to you and they try you and you fall susceptible to them over and over and over again, that's going to be what takes you out, whatever it may be. For example, I just gave the swine as an example. Let's say someone identified, the Lord said to not eat swine, and then they continue to do so. What happens? You get all type of diseases and ailments and things like that from eating the swine, right? Legs get amputated, right? Worms all throughout your body, you see? So that person who rejected the Lord's correction will fall susceptible to the reward of their own schemes. You see? So it's very important, to turn to the Lord and listen to the correction. Listen to the Spirit when it comes to you, right? Because the Spirit comes to you too as well. All right? You got the Spirit within you and you got the flesh there. And whichever one you feed is the one that's going to be the strongest. You see? So you got to endure. You got to overcome these things. Okay? Because this is nothing. This is a light affliction. What we're going through now is really nothing compared to eternity. This is 2 Corinthians chapter 4 real quick in verse 17. All right, we're gonna get these few precepts. Now this is in the NLT. This is 2 Corinthians chapter 4 verse 17. It says, "For our present troubles are small and won't last very long." You see, the demons, when they come to you, they try to make you think that this is the end all be all, that you can't overcome it. That's their job. It's to get you into a state of despair, a state of woe is me, a state of anger. But it's your job to utilize the Spirit to combat them, right? 2 Corinthians chapter 4 verse 17, "For our present troubles are small and won't last very long, yet they produce for us a glory that vastly outweighs them and will last forever." You see? So each temptation, each trouble that you go through and you overcome, it produces a glory for you, right? You're able to show strength and show your faith by overcoming these different temptations, right? When you in the thick of it, it doesn't seem like it's gonna let up. When you're in the thick of it, it seems like it's gonna last forever, right? These troubles, these temptations, the pain, the demons, right? This world, all right. It seems like it's gonna last forever, but it's really a moment compared to eternity, you know. And what you overcome now produces a glory that outweighs the current troubles that you go through, the current temptations that you go through. 2 Corinthians chapter 4, verse 18 in the NLT, it says, "So we don't look at the troubles we can see now." And that's easier said than done, right? We're in the flesh. So when troubles and temptation like to come about, we like to hone in on that instead of looking at the bigger picture. Like in trading, a lot of people stay zoomed in when they really need to zoom out, right? That's just an example. When you really zoom out on things, you get to see the bigger picture versus honing in on every single matter and being consumed, right? Thinking that there's no way out, thinking that those particular situations that you're in is bigger than what they are, right? A lot of people take themselves out over situations that's really minute, you know? 2 Corinthians chapter 4, verse 18. "So we don't look at the troubles we can see now, rather we fix our gaze on things that cannot be seen. For the things we see now will soon be gone, but the things we cannot see will last forever." See, the kingdom of heaven is going to last forever, but you don't see that right now, right? Jacob being kings and priests, right? You don't see that right now, but that's going to last forever. All right, us being servants right now is not going to last forever. It's going to be gone soon. So you got to fixate your mind on the heavenly things and don't be so fixated on the carnal things all the time. You got to see the bigger picture, be a visionary, man, and see that these troubles, these temptations that's tailor-made to you, it's only there to make you stronger, and it's not going to last forever. It's not going to last forever. This is how the Lord tries us, right? Sirach chapter 2 again. I'm going to go and read to verse 4. It says, Sirach or Ecclesiastes chapter 2 and verse 4, it says, whatsoever is brought upon thee, take cheerfully, and be patient with our change to a lower state. You see, and that's easier said than done, but we got to do it. All right. When these things come upon you, when the temptations, when the demons try you, all these things take place, the Lord said you're supposed to take that cheerfully. And I understand why. If once you know the truth, you understand that the temptations that come upon you is just a trial of your faith, to see how strong you are in the Lord, to see if you're solidified in the faith, right? Consider Job. When he was tried, it proved his faith. You see? And that's what the Lord is doing with us. All right? He's proven our faith. He's turning us into gold through the different adversities, through the different trials, through the different demons that tempt us. Sirach chapter 2 and verse 5, it says, for gold is tried in the fire, and acceptable men in the furnace of adversity. So in the eyes of the Lord, in order for you to be acceptable, you got to go through adversity. You got to go through temptation. You got to go through, the different trials that's made for you. So that way you can overcome and be the best prophet you can be, or be the best man of the Lord you can be. That's what it's about. Becoming better for Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua. And it's something that don't, happen overnight. No, man, it's a walk, right? It's a walk. And you got to keep walking your walk, man. Keep walking your walk. The scripture let us know that, let every man work out his own salvation with fear and trembling. So it shows you, you got to work out your own salvation, man, with fear and with trembling. No, excuse me. What I want. So what you go through in your path, another brother may have overcame it or maybe going through it too as well. But the point is, walk your walk. Identify what's trying you. Identify what's keeping you on a level instead of allowing you to level up. And once you identify that, change it. This is a time period now where you're able to do that. Okay. This is 1 Peter chapter 5 and verse 10 in the NLT. It says, in his kindness, God called you to share in his eternal glory by means of Hamashiach Yahushai, who the word ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. It says, so after you have suffered a little while, he will restore, support, and strengthen you, and he will place you on a firm foundation. Verse 11, all power to him forever. Amen. Right? So after you suffer, right, for a little while, right, this small moment, right, that's not going to last forever. Once you go through this trial, the Lord will restore you. The Lord will support you, right? Let's say you pray to the Lord for more faith. In order to get that faith, you're going to be tried. It's not going to be an easy thing. People pray to the Lord for things, and when a trial comes for you to receive that, you fail. Or you shy away from it. No, man. All right, that's why you got to be very careful about what you pray for, because if you pray for strength, the Lord is going to put you in a situation where you got to be strong. The situation is going to be so demanding to the point where it's going to force you to be strong. And there you unlock the strength, you see, by overcoming, Real talk. So when we go through things, you got to think about what's to gain after that. How would you overcome? When you overcome, will it make you better? Real talk, man. Let me get 1 Peter 4 real quick. This is in the NLT. 1 Peter chapter 4 and verse 13. It says, I'm going to start at verse 12, right? This is in the NLT. It says, dear friends, don't be surprised at the fiery trials you are going through, as if something strange were happening to you. See, it's not strange that you're going through these things, right? It's not. Don't think it's strange that it's happening. No, the Lord said it's going to happen, right? The Lord said you're going to be tried. The Lord said you're going to have to overcome, right? So he told you the things that you're going to have to do, as well as the Lord equipped us to fight too as well, man. With this truth, right? He gave us the whole armor, like it says in Ephesians chapter 6. So 1 Peter chapter 4 verse 12 in the NLT, it says, dear friends, Don't be surprised at the fiery trials you are going through, as if something strange were happening to you. Verse 13, instead, be very glad, for these trials make you partners with Hamashiach in his suffering, so that you will have the wonderful joy of seeing his glory when it is revealed to all the world. So by you going through these trials, by you suffering, you're being made like Yahweh Shai, right? You're being a partner with Yahweh Shai in his sufferings. You see, Yahweh Shai had to suffer, so we got to suffer too as well. And the Lord had to go through his own particular sufferings, just like we got to go through our own particular sufferings, you know? But don't think it's strange that you're going through it. No, everybody is going through temptations. Everybody's going through trials. All right. But it's those who are fighting and overcoming, and then it's those who are actually being overtaken by their temptations, right? Being overtaken by their trials, and they fall. You see, you don't want to be one that get up out this truth because of a small matter on a grand scheme of things. Nothing can compare to receiving the kingdom of heaven. Nothing can compare to getting your crown. So you cannot let the demons come to you, right, and overshadow your spirit. You cannot let that happen. 1 Peter chapter 4, verse 14. If you are insulted because you bear the name of Hamashiach, you will be blessed, for the glorious spirit of God rests upon you. You see? So by you being persecuted, by you going through the temptations, overcoming the temptations, that's what make you a joint heir with Yahweh Shai. So welcome the sufferers, welcome the temptations, right? Face them head on and be equipped to overcome them with the truth. That's how you piss the demons off, with the truth, man, right? That's how you piss them off. This is 2 Corinthians, last one, 2 Corinthians chapter 1 and verse 5. 2 Corinthians chapter 1 and verse 5 in the NLT. I'm going to read to verse 6. It says, for the more we suffer for Hamashiach, the more God will shower us with his comfort through Hamashiach. Whew. Verse 6, even when we are weighed down with troubles, it is for your comfort in salvation. For when we ourselves are comforted, we will certainly comfort you. Then you can patiently endure the same things we suffer. Verse 7, we are confident that as you share in our sufferings, you will also share in the comfort God gives us. You see? So right now we're being comforted. All right. Yeah, it was, you're going through troublesome days. Yeah, we're in the valley of the shadow of death, but we have comfort here. By us reading these words and understanding that it's not going to be like this forever, it gives us hope, right? And the scriptures just said here in verse 6, right? Even when we are weighed down with troubles, it is for your comfort in salvation, man. So go through it, overcome it, remain in the truth. And the Lord is going to comfort you with these words, with prophecy, and ultimately when Yahweh shall return back with healing in his wings. You see? So I believe the point was made. Hopefully this was edifying. I'm going to end it by giving all honor and glory to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, Harakak, Wadash, Lai Yum. Double honors once again to my apostles and elders at Great Millstone for teaching me this truth. Shalom once again to the elect. Abba.